Chapter 1: The Sad Village. Once upon a time, in a small village, people were not happy. The village was quiet and sad. The sky was gray, and the flowers did not bloom. The villagers did not smile or laugh. They were always busy and tired. In this village, there lived a young girl named Mia. Mia was different. She had a bright smile and a kind heart. She always tried to make others happy. She helped her mother in the kitchen, and she helped her father in the garden. One day, Mia decided to do something to make the village happy. She had an idea. "I will make a garden," she thought. A garden full of beautiful flowers. Mia loved flowers. She knew that flowers could make people smile. Chapter 2: The Start of the Garden. Mia went to her parents and told them her idea. They smiled at her. "It's a wonderful idea, Mia," her mother said. "But we don't have any flowers." "Don't worry, Mama," Mia replied. "I will find seeds and plant them." Mia went to her room and found a small box. Inside the box were a few seeds. She took the seeds and went outside. She started to dig the soil. She planted the seeds carefully. She watered them every day. Days passed, but the seeds did not grow. Mia was sad, but she did not give up. She continued to water the soil and care for the seeds. She believed that one day, the seeds would grow into beautiful flowers. Chapter 3: Help from Friends. One morning, Mia saw her friend, Tom. Tom was a boy who lived next door. He was also sad like the other villagers. Mia told Tom about her garden. "I am planting a garden to make our village happy," she said. "Do you want to help me?" Tom thought for a moment and then smiled. "Yes, I will help you, Mia," he said. Together, they worked in the garden. They watered the soil and removed the weeds. They talked and laughed. Soon, other children saw Mia and Tom working in the garden. They were curious. They came to see the garden. Mia and Tom told them about their idea. The children were excited. They wanted to help too. Now, many children worked in the garden. They planted more seeds and took care of the soil. The garden was still empty, but the children were happy. They played and sang songs. The village was not so quiet anymore. Chapter 4: The First Flower. One sunny morning, Mia went to the garden. She saw something green in the soil. It was a small plant. Mia was very happy. She ran to tell Tom and the other children. They all came to see the small plant. "It's the first flower," Tom said with joy. Every day, the children came to see the plant. They took good care of it. They watered it and protected it from the wind. Slowly, the plant grew taller. One day, a beautiful flower bloomed. It was red and bright. The villagers saw the flower. They stopped to look at it. For the first time in a long time, they smiled. The flower made them feel happy. Chapter 5: More Flowers Bloom. After the first flower bloomed, more flowers started to grow. The garden was full of colors. There were red, yellow, blue, and pink flowers. The children were very happy. They played in the garden every day. The villagers also came to the garden. They walked among the flowers and smelled their sweet fragrance. They felt peace and joy. The village was not sad anymore. The sky was blue, and the sun shone brightly. Mia and her friends continued to take care of the garden. They planted more seeds and grew more flowers. The garden became a beautiful place. It was called the Garden of Happiness. Chapter 6: A Festival of Happiness. The villagers decided to have a festival to celebrate the Garden of Happiness. They decorated the village with flowers. They made flower crowns and wore them. They sang and danced. Mia and her friends were very happy. They saw the smiles on the faces of the villagers. They knew that their garden had made a difference. The village was full of laughter and joy. During the festival, the villagers thanked Mia and the children. "You have brought happiness to our village," they said. We are very proud of you, Mia smiled and said, we did it together. The garden is for everyone. It makes us all happy. Chapter 7, The Magic of Happiness. The Garden of Happiness was not just a place of flowers. It was a place of magic. The magic was the happiness and love that the children and villagers shared. They cared for each other and helped each other. The garden taught them an important lesson. Happiness comes from within. It comes from kindness, love, and friendship. The villagers learned to smile, laugh, and be happy again. Mia and her friends continued to take care of the garden. They knew that happiness needed to be nurtured and protected. They promised to always keep the garden beautiful. Chapter 8, A Happy Ending. The village was no longer sad. It was a happy place. The Garden of Happiness grew bigger and more beautiful every day. People came from other villages to see the garden. They were amazed by its beauty. Mia and her friends were proud of their work. They knew that they had made a difference. They had brought happiness to their village. The garden was a symbol of their love and friendship, and so, the story of the Garden of Happiness ends with a happy village. A village where people smiled, laughed, and loved. A village where happiness bloomed like beautiful flowers. Chapter 9, The Mysterious Traveler. One day, a traveler came to the village. He was an old man with a long white beard and bright blue eyes. He carried a small bag and walked with a wooden stick. He looked tired but happy. The villagers were curious about him. Mia saw the traveler and greeted him. Hello, sir. Welcome to our village. How can we help you? The old man smiled warmly. Thank you, young lady. I have heard about your Garden of Happiness. I traveled a long way to see it. May I? Of course, Mia said. She led the traveler to the garden. The old man looked around with wonder in his eyes. He touched the flowers gently and took a deep breath. This is truly a magical place, he said. You and your friends have done a wonderful job. Mia blushed with pride. Thank you. We wanted to make our village happy, the old man nodded. Happiness is a precious gift. You have shared it with your village. But remember, happiness grows when it is shared with others. Chapter 10, The Traveler's Gift. The traveler stayed in the village for a few days. He told the villagers stories from faraway places. The children loved his stories, and the adults found comfort in his wisdom. The village was full of laughter and excitement. Before leaving, the traveler called Mia and her friends together. I have a gift for you, he said. From his bag, he took out a small wooden box. He opened the box and showed them many colorful seeds. These are special seeds, he explained. They come from different parts of the world. Each seed will grow into a unique flower. Plant them in your garden. They will make it even more beautiful. Mia and her friends were thrilled. They thanked the traveler and promised to take good care of the seeds. The old man smiled and said, Remember, happiness is like these seeds. It comes in different forms and colors. Cherish it and share it with everyone. Chapter 11, Planting the Special Seeds. Mia and her friends carefully planted the special seeds in the garden. They made sure each seed had enough space to grow. They watered the seeds and watched over them every day. As the days passed, the special seeds began to sprout. The children were amazed to see plants they had never seen before. Some had big, bright leaves, and others had tiny, delicate flowers. The garden became even more colorful and beautiful. The villagers were excited to see the new flowers. They came to the garden every day to admire the beauty. The garden became a place of joy and wonder. People from other villages also came to see the Garden of Happiness. They were inspired by the story of Mia and her friends. Chapter 12, A Challenge for the Garden. One day, dark clouds covered the sky. A strong wind blew through the village. The villagers were worried. They had not seen such a storm in a long time. Mia and her friends were concerned about the garden. We must protect the garden, Mia said. The flowers are delicate. We need to make sure they are safe. The children gathered around the garden. They used sticks and ropes to build a shelter. They covered the flowers with cloth to protect them from the wind and rain. The storm was fierce, but the children worked together bravely. The storm lasted all night. The wind howled, and the rain poured down. The villagers stayed inside their homes, worried about the garden. When morning came, the storm was over. The sky was clear, and the sun shone brightly. Mia and her friends ran to the garden. They were relieved to see that the flowers were safe. The shelter they had built had protected the garden. The villagers came to see the garden and were overjoyed. "You have done a wonderful job," said Mia's father. "You protected the garden and showed great courage." Chapter 13, A New Friend. One sunny afternoon, a girl named Lily moved to the village. She was shy and quiet. She did not know anyone in the village. Mia saw Lily and decided to befriend her. "Hello, my name is Mia," she said with a smile. "Welcome to our village. Would you like to see our garden of happiness?" Lily nodded shyly. Mia took her to the garden and introduced her to her friends. They showed her the beautiful flowers and told her the story of the garden. Lily listened with interest. She felt happy and welcomed. "Would you like to join us?" Mia asked. "We take care of the garden together," Lily smiled and said. "Yes, I would love to." From that day on, Lily became a part of the group. She helped water the plants and take care of the flowers. She made new friends and felt happy in the village. Chapter 14, The Village's Growth. As the Garden of Happiness grew, so did the village. More people came to live in the village. They built new houses and shops. The village became lively and bustling. The villagers were happy and content. The garden became the heart of the village. It was a place where people gathered to celebrate, relax, and find peace. The villagers organized festivals and events in the garden. They sang, danced, and enjoyed each other's company. Mia and her friends continued to take care of the garden. They planted new flowers and made sure the garden was always beautiful. They were proud of their work and the happiness they had brought to the village. Chapter 15, A Visit from the King. One day, the village received exciting news. The king had heard about the Garden of Happiness and wanted to visit. The villagers were thrilled. They prepared for the king's visit with great excitement. Mia and her friends worked hard to make the garden look perfect. They cleaned the paths, trimmed the plants, and decorated the garden with colorful ribbons. The villagers helped too. They wanted to show the king their beautiful garden and happy village. When the king arrived, the villagers welcomed him with cheers and smiles. The king was impressed by the beauty of the garden. He walked through the garden, admiring the flowers and talking to the villagers. "This is truly a wonderful place," the king said. "I can see that this garden has brought happiness to your village." Mia and her friends were proud. They showed the king the special flowers they had planted from the traveler's seeds. The king was amazed by the variety and beauty of the flowers. "You have done an excellent job," the king said. "Your garden is a symbol of happiness and unity. I will tell other villages about your wonderful work." Chapter 16, The King's Gift. Before leaving, the king had a special gift for the village. He called Mia and her friends together. "I have a gift for you," he said. From his carriage, he brought out a beautiful fountain. The fountain was made of shiny marble and decorated with flowers. "This fountain is a symbol of the joy and beauty you have created," the king said. "Place it in your garden as a reminder of your hard work and the happiness you have shared." The villagers were overjoyed. They thanked the king and promised to take good care of the fountain. Mia and her friends placed the fountain in the center of the garden. The sound of the water flowing added to the beauty and tranquility of the garden. Chapter 17, The Garden's Lessons. As the years passed, the Garden of Happiness continued to thrive. Mia and her friends grew older, but they never forgot the lessons they had learned from the garden. They knew that happiness came from kindness, hard work, and sharing. The garden became a place of learning. The children of the village learned about plants and flowers. They learned to work together and care for each other. The garden taught them the value of friendship and community. Mia often thought about the old traveler and his words. Happiness grows when it is shared with others. She knew that the garden was a testament to that truth. It had brought happiness to the village and inspired others to create their own gardens of happiness. Chapter 18: A New Generation. Mia and her friends became the teachers and leaders of the village. They taught the younger generation how to care for the garden. They shared the stories of the garden and the lessons they had learned. The garden continued to grow and flourish. New flowers bloomed, and new friendships were formed. The village remained a happy and peaceful place. The garden was a symbol of the love and unity that bound the villagers together. One day, Mia saw a group of children playing in the garden. She smiled and remembered the days when she and her friends had started the garden. She knew that the spirit of the Garden of Happiness would continue to live on in the hearts of the villagers. Chapter 19: The Garden's Legacy. As time went on, the story of the Garden of Happiness spread far and wide. People from distant lands heard about the beautiful garden and the happy village. They came to visit and see the wonder for themselves. Many visitors were inspired by the garden. They returned to their own villages and started their own gardens of happiness. They planted flowers and created places of beauty and joy. The spirit of the Garden of Happiness spread across the land. Mia and her friends were proud of their work. They knew that they had created something special. The garden was not just a place of flowers, it was a symbol of hope and happiness. It showed that with kindness and hard work, people could create a better world. Chapter 20: A Happy Future. The Garden of Happiness continued to be a place of joy and beauty. The villagers took care of the garden.